Good afternoon or good morning, depending on what time zone you're in. It's John Tantillo, aka the Marketing Doctor, for Saturday, November the 23rd, 2024. We're getting ready for Thanksgiving next week. I'm looking forward to it. Monica is going to be cooking a turkey and something one of my pet peeves is if you go to a restaurant, they don't have dark meat. They have generally the carcass or the main part of the bird, and they don't generally serve dark meat. They only serve the white meat. And that was always an issue. But uh, being that Monica is serving cooking, I should say, the turkey, I'll be able to get some dark meat, which I love. I love the thigh. Oh, it's so juicy. I know it's more fatty, but that's okay. So that's what's in fact coming up. I'm getting ready to hear from my cardiologist slash um, um, what do they call them now? The My interventionist or my vascular surgeon. So to do my TAVR, if you're new and you haven't heard, I have to get a valve uh, transfer. They got to replace the valve, and I have some plaque in the heart. So I got two procedures, one called the TAVR, TAVR, valve replacement. What is it? Trans aorta valve replacement. And that should be, I don't know if it's going to be done this year. I'm hoping. And I've been vigilant on getting them to schedule me, but that's another story. And then them doing um, an angioplasty to open up the because I got some blockage. So that's where I stand medically. My blood sugar is just terrific. It's my A1C was 6.8, and that's really, really good. My kidneys uh, uh, got my kidney score got elevated because of the dye that they had to put in me for the angiogram, which assessed that I needed I have blockage and I needed a TAVR. So we redid the test, and I haven't heard back from the doctor, which means I think I passed the test. So that's all good. In terms of my walking, good news. I'm walking faster with the walker. I haven't done the two canes yet, but I'm walking. I'm down to now when I circle the facility that I go to, I'm down to 5 minutes, 5 seconds. That's my best time. So I was at 7 minutes, 5 seconds, 7 minutes and a half about 2 weeks ago. And the reason for that is that I'm doing these exercises. Let me show you as I pan out and you see my Pan Am logo. My father worked for Pan Am, and I think it's a great logo. But anyway, these are the kinds of exercises that I do with 2 pound weights, and then this, and then putting, moving my shoulders and moving out. So I do that on Thursday and Friday, and that has significantly helped in my stamina of being able to walk further. So there you go. I'm very, very happy about that. today is the day after the 61st anniversary of John F. Kennedy's assassination. And I don't even know if my system remembers this. Um, the day that JFK was killed at St. Matthias, we had a bazaar to generate funds. And I was, talk about where were you when Kennedy was assassinated, or where were you at an important date in history? Um, well, I was at the bazaar, and I was asked by my teacher to go to Sister Patril, who was the fourth grade teacher at the time, and tell her that President Kennedy was shot. He had not died as of yet, but he was shot. And so it must have been, uh, I think, what, 1:15. Okay, we were all at the bazaar. All the kids were at the bazaar playing different games. Uh, and I remember going to the classroom, talk about starting young in news, huh? Anyway, it's nothing to laugh at, but I went into the classroom. Actually, I didn't go into the classroom. I was outside the classroom, and I knocked on the door, and the door opened, and one of the students answered the door, and I said uh, that Sister Annunziata told me to tell Sister Patril that the president was shot. And she went to Sister Patril and told, and I remember that Sister Patril said, "Class, the president has been shot." And I'll never forget that day. I remember coming back from school. My mother picked us up, and she really didn't have to, but she had heard about the news, and I cried like a baby. I mean, I really loved JFK because of Caroline, and I mean, it was he was a very charismatic man. Yeah, he had his issues, but I really did like the Kennedys. I got to tell you, I have to say, I have to fess up that I didn't like Bobby Kennedy. I thought Bobby Kennedy wore his ambitiousness on his sleeve, but nevertheless, I never wish anything bad on the Kennedys. And I guess my least favorite Kennedy, excuse me, was Teddy Kennedy for Chappaquiddick. And of all of the three brothers, um, he was my least favorite. Um, uh, anyway, and I kind of like JFK, not JFK, RFK Jr., even though he's a little bit, he can be a little bit uh, thinking outside the box, but nevertheless, I think he's a good person, and I think he had a tough life with addiction and all of those issues. So I only wish him the best. So those are my remembrances of of uh, that historical day, 61 years and one day ago. Um, I just got my hair cut. Here we go. I think, and a little bit, I think I mentioned this once before. If you're over the age of 60, what you got to do is you got to get a haircut at least every 2 weeks. Otherwise, it grows out, even though it doesn't grow out on the top, it grows off the sides, and you look like Bozo the Clown, or somebody who just escaped an asylum. So I really recommend you keep up those haircuts and don't cheap them out. So so that's that. Um, what else can I say? I'm leaving the political stuff to the end. You can see I'm wearing my Vini Vidi Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered, which was attributed, I believe, to Julius Caesar, and I love that. I never took Latin in school. I took a more scientific curriculum or approach than the classical approach at St. Francis Prep. The classical where I would have had like four languages, which would have included Latin. I instead took the scientific, which meant I took French and German in school. And it's funny to this day. I can I well I was let's go back. I was always more of an academic in languages so that I could translate it, I could read it. I just didn't have the ear to speak it. So, as I like to say, I have all to do but speak English, never mind another language. So, anyway, I just don't have the ear for uh, languages. So, there you go. So, 2 weeks ago, we got the results of an election. And as this former Democrat, as I mentioned to some of you that know me and watch me on Facebook, I left the Democratic Party because of all of the shenanigans that they did. And I'm very happy about that. And I did something that I thought I would never do, and that is registered as a Republican. And the reason I did that is I rather have more moderate Republicans than Republicans that are ultra right. But nevertheless, I understand where they're coming from. And as Chris Ruddy likes to say, John, you're not an ideological guy. You're a very practical guy. And that's uh, the way I like to look at my politics. And um, I'm a very, very practical kind of fellow that tries to look at all sides of the argument. So anyway, my students for Hanukkah, which will be in a few weeks, wanted my address because they wanted to give me a Hanukkah gift, which is Make America Great Again. I just thought that was so cute. So God bless them. They're really a great group. I tell you, with the challenges that have been presented to me, there's nothing like um, there's just nothing like teaching and being around those students. I was going to call them kids. They're not kids. They're great. They're great people. And if you don't know, I teach a Orthodox Jewish university called Toro, and I don't mean to make generalizations, but if you don't know or have never met an Orthodox Jewish person. They are the most beautiful people that you can ever meet. They're humble, they're intellectual, they're intelligent, and they're very loving. Anyway, I am just such a lucky guy. I really should write something about this election of why Trump won. And I am one of those people that believe that this election was a choice between capitalism and socialism. And that's the way I looked at it. And it was good that we did the trifecta plus one, which is that the Republicans won the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and also the popular vote. So you don't have to listen to the kids talk about uh, if the election was rigged. It certainly wasn't rigged. It was done fair and square, and it was, you know, done with marketing in mind, as well as being very practical and taking the lessons learned from the Democrats, of which I was a part, and the best person regarding a ground game was the man that I worked for, Assemblyman Cliff Wilson. He was the most brilliant political strategist uh, that I ever could come across. I learned everything I learned about politics. I learned from him. What a wonderful, wonderful man. And I had the great fortune of of saying some words at his funeral, so his memorial. So I'm very, very happy, and I know his two daughters very well. And yeah, I've lived a pretty good life, if I do say so myself. So I'm feeling really, really good. Like I said, my eyes are terrific. My blood sugar's good. The only thing I would like to do is I would like to lose some weight, but I'm down 2 pounds, thank the Lord. My blood pressure is good, and all I got to do is get this TAVR. And as I like to say, years ago, if this was 20 years ago, um, I would keel over and that would be the end. And they would say, "Oh yeah, Cantillo had a heart attack because the valve was needed to be replaced." But we didn't do anything. We didn't know about it. Okay, so there you go. My grandfather died at 73 years old. And did he die at 73? Yeah, I think so. He died in 83. And I think he was born in 1906. 1906, 80. So, yeah, or it was 76 then. He's 76. And here we go. He had just, the day before he passed, he just moved a heavy air conditioner. Okay. He lifted something heavy. And what happened was he was on the throne or on the toilet, and he fell over in the middle of a BM. And my aunt Patricia went up to pick him up, did some mouth to mouth on him, but he was gone. And once again, it was a heart attack. So that's how people died years ago. If you look at the actors in the 1950s and 60s that died, most of them died of, they either died of lung cancer or cardiac arrest. And they really didn't have um, really any treatments, or they really didn't know about heart condition. Oh, listen to this. When Roosevelt died, his blood pressure, I think it was 300 over 200. Okay. And at that time, which is 1945, there was no blood pressure medication, none. So that's why people live as long as they do. So medicine has come a long, long, long way. And Roosevelt's last words were, "I have a terrible headache." And he just keeled over in the presence of his lover. No, it wasn't his wife, Eleanor. But anyway, so that's about it. I hope I didn't offend too many people by letting them know what side of the aisle I am now on. But I do believe that if one gets over Trump's personality, which I'm not always a fan of, but nevertheless, we are fellow Queensters. He grew up about 7 miles from my house. He grew up in Jamaica Estates. I grew up in Ridgewood, Queens. But our personalities can, and when I was a younger man, I was probably a lot like Trump. So uh, I think that's about it. As you can see, I'm a pretty happy guy, even though I'm in a wheelchair and wish I could walk better, but that will come. The secret with the walking is I have to zone out all of those people who love me that want me to be dancing and want me to walk in the old way. I got to do this on my own time and my own way. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm doing physical therapy once a week. I'm doing exercises 3 and 4 times a week, which gets me stronger for me to have greater stamina when I'm using the walker and hopefully have better balance in terms of using crutches. So that's about it. Um, Subscribe to this YouTube channel and remember to go brand yourself. I hope you enjoyed today's remembrances and thoughts. And let's pray for the Middle East. Take care. TTFN. Ta ta for now. Bye bye.